Welcome to Coach Magic, the show for the woman who is all in on creating a life, business, and family that's beyond her wildest dreams. I'm Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to help you get confident, focused, and paid. Let's rewrite the rules and get moving in the direction of your deepest desires. Ready, set, go. Hi, everyone. Yes, and welcome to this live episode of Coach Magic. I'm Jenny Fennig. I'm thrilled to have you with us today. We have this incredible speaker series that I'm hosting all month, and I've invited some amazing women to come on and join me. All of these women are graduates of our Magic Makers Coach certification, and they are just rock stars. They have huge stories to share, a message for you. And today I have for you my dear friend. We've known each other for decades. We met actually when you weren't even 21 yet. Vivian, you were 20. I had just turned 21. We were college interns living in New York City. Let me tell you about her. Vivian Lin is a corporate marketer turned entrepreneur and Lady Lash boss. I love that. Owning multiple Deka Lash studios in Boston. She grew up Asian American in one of the most historical colonial towns in America and has walked life in Washington, D.C., New York City, and Asia, where she became American Asian with a BA in psychology and women's studies from Williams College and an MBA from Columbia University. Her passion in coaching comes from helping women, managers, and entrepreneurs find their true personal and professional poise, especially when navigating transitional and emotional times. When she has free time, she loves exploring the world with her 3 kids, running marathons, and nurturing her flower garden. Now, today, in addition to sharing her insights into her journey as a coach, Vivian will offer tips on making progress and peace when you have a full plate and are navigating change. Vivian, welcome to Coach Magic.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm very happy to be here today. Happy to be here with everybody.
Absolutely. And anyone who's tuning in live or watching the replay, please make sure you comment. We'd love to see what you have to say and just feel your energy in this room. And certainly if you have questions, let us know. All right, Vivian. So you and I go way, way back. We both were drawn to the field of public relations when we were these young collegiate students. We found our way to summer housing at Columbia University. You were working at one PR agency. I was working at another. We've been friends ever since. Let's talk about your career journey, because you've done a lot of different things before, in the last year, stumbling upon or just realizing, hey, coaching is calling out to me. But I know a lot of people are in this time of change, certainly career change, certainly women, because it's always women. We're handling so many things, but during this pandemic time, there's just been a lot. It's like a reckoning of what do I really want? And does this work for me? And is there something different for me or something better for me? And you've done a lot of different things throughout your career. So walk us through some of those career moves and pivots you've made through the years.
Absolutely. Well, I think that we both started out in very similar places, right? I think we are both drawn to marketing, public relations. We were at the time very much into that space. And in New York City, I think it's just that energy and the vibe of really like being engaged with what's new, what's like the newest of the new, and getting that news out to everybody. And, at the time there was just so much activity that was more like in person and trying to get the good news out about anything in particular. Whatever our product was assigned to us, that's what we were doing. And I think we had a ton of fun doing that. I had a ton of fun doing that. I eventually got more into like the basics of more marketing management at like a corporate level. So like on the brand side, on the product side. And I really got into that through, by way of going back and getting my MBA. So I think in the same vein, like I just loved everything business, and I just think it's super fun. I think it's so exciting to be a part of new product development, business development, getting the word out, driving the results. Like, I think that there's something in me that potentially just being like that, just excitable and competitive person in some ways, like always wanted to be engaged in something new. and to be involved with that. And so that's kind of where like the PR aspect went into the business management aspect, and it was all very corporate. At one point, just for personal and family reasons, we did end up, by way of moving from Washington, D.C. to New York and then to Taipei. That was like a big game changer for me. It was like all of a sudden, all the steps that have been laid in front of me, like the development of like, okay, now you start here and then you get promoted here and then you go back to grad school and then you do this. And that was all kind of very safe. So as much as it was like I was engaged in like creative and fun and business, what I wanted to be doing, like it did fuel me. It was all very safe and kind of structured. And when I moved to Asia, like, that the play on words between like being Asian American, all of a sudden becoming like American Asian, it's like everybody's looking at you like, who are you? And why you don't like, when I was growing up here, people sometimes would be like, well, you speak such great English. And I'd be like, oh, well, I didn't think that would be a question, but yes, I do. And then I moved to Asia and they're like, oh, you don't really speak really good Chinese. And I'm like, well, because I'm not really from here. And they're like, but you look like you're from here. And so I think all of that moment in time, we talk about moments in time when you really, really have to dig deep and figure out what you want to do, who you are, and stand on your own 2 feet. That was the moment that helped me realize that, yeah, you know what? I think that coming back to the United States now, a decade later, having none of those crutches or the frameworks or the things to kind of like keep me, like telling me what to do next. That was the moment when I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? What drives you? Who do you want to work with? What industry do you want to be in? And the choices that then led me into entrepreneurship and becoming an owner of Deka Lash. So that was kind of the journey from like a professional standpoint, I guess, but it was also fueled by a lot of change, and I think change really pushes you to know yourself, to stand on your own, to not rely on your credentials or your networks or your kind of should be doings, because you don't have any of that at certain points in time. And you kind of have to you really have to get really sensory with your own feelings and figure out kind of how am I going to take this next step in a way that is comfortable, that is not anxiety ridden, but that is hopeful. And that, eventually with that attitude, hopefully reaps all the rewards that I deserve,
Right.
and I think that that's kind of how I got to where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like your time. I loved how you described that. And when you created, when you sent over your bio, I thought it was just so well written. And again, I know you, so I know your journey, but I hadn't really considered that was what you had experienced, going from an Asian American to an American Asian, and what that was like, and what the day to day was like for you, being told as an American, you were born and raised here, like, oh, you speak such good English. Well, I was born here and raised here, and this is my native tongue. And then going over there and not knowing how to speak Chinese at the level of the people who were born and raised there, and just dealing with what that is around identity. And like you said, who are you? Who are you? And so really being able to sit with that, well, if the question is, who am I? And I get to decide who I am, well, then what do I want to really be doing? Like, what is my purpose here? What is my path there? So it sounds like your experience in Taiwan really led to you coming back and going, I'm going to create this thing. I'm going to create this thing the way I want to. I already stepped out of the prescribed path, which you were on, and then you moved and kind of blew everything up. And then you come back and you go, okay, so now what? I think I want to go on this entrepreneur road. So how did you decide that you wanted to be a franchise owner? Because that's really what Deka Lash is. It's an opportunity to own at least one franchise. And now you have several locations.
Yeah, at first, again, like we all come with a certain level of, and I think the humbleness comes from thinking that you can do everything yourself, right? And at first I was like, well, there's no way I'm doing this franchise route because that's someone else's idea. It's not my idea. And it's really, really odd, especially when you go to like, Columbia MBA or whatever. You think that you're supposed to be the one who like invents the next big thing, and the brand's gonna be your brand, right? And I think that what led me to, I decided, well, you know what? I've been kind of out of the loop for a while in general. I also, again, like wanted to litmus test and get a sense for like what's new right now, like what is the up and coming. And the best way to do that was to start talking to, like, seeing what the landscape was looking like when it came to franchises that were popping up, because franchises tend to kind of jump onto the band, they're trying to find the next new thing, and selling it, and to business owners. And I came across lashes, and it's not like as much as I love beauty and everything, I think it's great. It makes me look, feel awesome. I definitely was not thinking I was going to get into the lash industry. When I discovered it was all pure business metrics. And I did toggle between, should I do this on my own? And not being an esthetician, not being a lash artist. But I'm a business manager. Like, heck, we can do this on our own. We just, apply our business minds, and I can come up with my own brand. I literally was thinking about my own lash extension studio brand. I was like, I'm going to cut out the middleman. I'm just going to do this on my own. And then I thought, you know what? There is so much learning curve involved with everything that we do, including like, the coaching. And it's like, there's so much learning curve. And why try to invent the wheel and take 5 years to do that? And by the time you launch, it's no longer going to be new.
Right.
And so there's speed to market. So my goal at the time, I just thought, you know what? I recognize that this being kind of a new service, new market, and also in the Boston area, there wasn't yet any one cohesive, like, brand that was recognizable. And I figure, you know what, I can save myself a lot of time and effort if I just relied on the technology, relied on the brand, relied on the infrastructure that could be provided by a company, leverage it, just find the one that aligns with my way of seeing things. And that's kind of how it ended up happening.
That's smart. I mean, what you just said, you eliminate, 5 years of figuring it out on your own. And by that point, it's not new anymore. You're not even sure what's going to be happening in the market. It's like, get in now, capture market share, and, establish a great business with clients who want to come to you. And what I love about that business too, you had given me one of your pamphlets. It's a subscription business, really. I mean, it's just a regular, it's even more often than like haircuts.
Yes. It's every 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's
That's
awesome.
So cool. Okay. I'm texting my husband to stop. Okay. Sean is upstairs. Vivian knows my kids. I know Vivian's kids. He is above me. My office is below we have a room in our house called the library, and he is literally banging his feet. And it's super annoying. He's in a class right now, and he's just like one of those boop, 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 boop. So anywho, I needed to have that handled. Anyone else who knows what it's like to get like, I'm easily distracted. Like, I can focus in, I can be really on point. I teach this a lot in my programs and in my talks, but it's really eliminate unnecessary distractions. That right there is an unnecessary distraction. Like, gotta quit banging your foot. Okay. So you had gotten this business off the ground, you have a team, you're doing your thing, you're learning the systems, you have this great thing being set up. COVID hits, people are all hit by COVID, especially retail. And, you and I have known each other for a long time. And the last time, our just most recent class, I was promoting, just the power of intuitive coaching and having this skill set that you can weave into your business, that you can start a business, you're just doing this if that's what you want to do. And you reached out to me and said, oh my gosh, I think this might be for me. I think I want to do this. Tell me more about what that moment was like for you and when you realized, yeah, coaching, I want that. I want to know how to do that.
I love talking about this because I think that we all have those moments in time. Again, like there's a series of moments when you fall upon a decision. And I've definitely been watching and following you, Jenny, as a friend forever. And I'm always like, oh yeah, now Jenny's doing this and now she's doing that. And I just always kind of like just in admiration, but also just not truly like thinking that it's anything I could be involved with, for sure. And I do remember, being at this crossroads of thinking like, well, and this was during pandemic, business is awesome to be engaged in, the type of business, brick and mortar services business. There's a lot to do and to keep you busy there, but there's also, it definitely, there was a calling involved. I think and essentially what happened was I did see, every year Jenny does have a post that she does, on behalf of, for your sister. And the very first question that you had on there is something like, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was like, what are you going to do with your life or something like that?
Yeah.
And it was deep. I was like, whoa, do you know what you want to do with your life? And I, just this whole past year during pandemic, not only with the business challenges, I've had some, personal challenges as well. I relied so heavily on coaching content from a series of different people. Like it was almost like a library, literally like a library of coaches that I would kind of tap into to kind of give me the directions, whether it's like tactical business, or if it was emotional support, or if it was just like general concepts and ideas. I spent the whole year really digesting content and wondering in the back of my mind as a business person, how do they do this? Like, because I'm thinking, what I'm digesting here is free content. But at some point, this person, she's like, every Tuesday, for example, she'll pop on and do this. And she'll be like, okay, everyone, it's Tuesday, and I'd be like, okay, well, what is it? What is she doing the rest of the week? Right. And I'm thinking, this is my mind. This is how I think. Like everything to me is a business, everything. And I'm like, how does this business work? So when you then ask that question, this really deep question, what do you want to do with your life? And then I'm like, okay, let's open this up and see what Jenny's talking about. And then boom, at the bottom, you're talking about the Magic Makers Coaches program. It was the first time that it was just like my eyes just lit up, because I was like, oh my gosh, I like texted you right away. I'm like, I think I want to know more about this. This is what I've been asking myself. How does this work? How does this work? Like, how do these women, I mostly listen to other women coaches, like, how are they making this a business that works for them and their life? And maybe I have something, like, it's speaking to me. So just like with the, with the lashes and with Deka Lash,
We froze. She may be back. Vivian may be back. She might have a little tech issue. We'll see. Don't worry. I'll fill in here since she froze. She wondered if she might have an internet issue, and she's going on this awesome story. So hopefully she can rejoin if her internet has frozen. We are in Mercury retrograde here. And earlier this week we had, crazy FBIG outage, which is always interesting. Let me see if I can. Okay, good. Oh, she's back. Yay. Wait, you're muted. Unmute yourself. we're going to ask you to unmute. There we go.
That was going to happen.
I was like, she's going to come back in. She worried that she might have an internet issue. I was like, you know how it is. We're in Mercury retrograde and we just had an FBIG like WhatsApp outage.
I know, right? My gosh.
So things happen. That's all good. But yeah, you were really going on your story of how all of a sudden it clicked. Oh, that's how the business thing works. They share this powerful message, and then there's an invitation for something that is paid, or there's an invitation to like join the community and get on that list. And you started seeing like, that's how the business works. And ooh, I might want to do something like that. Like I have a message. And you, as you alluded to, you had personal challenges that you were navigating, really deciding what you want. Again, what am I doing with my life? What is that next chapter? What is that next part of life that you're meant to be living and experiencing? And I think everything just lined up. I remember that post. Yes, it was around the anniversary of my sister's passing. Yes, earlier this year. And it was also, I remember, this is just an insight, a tip for you all messengers out there, putting your work out there. Someone from my PR agency days, he had passed away. He passed away. He died due to complications of COVID. And I learned of it. And of course, at that point, all of my PR agency people, it was it was heartbreaking to learn of his passing. And it was beautiful how our PR agency, all my colleagues, many of whom I haven't spoken to in a very, very long time, we got connected on a private message on Facebook, and we were just remembering him and supporting one another. And gosh, PR people they're still some of my favorite people in the whole world, for sure. And as a result of what I saw happen to him, and just the fact that life can be over in a blink of an eye, I got inspired to write that post. And everyone, you all have to trust the message that's flowing through. That's the bottom line. You've got to trust the message that's flowing through. If you know you're impacted by something, if you're sad about something, if you're excited about something and the message flows through, trust the message that flows through, put it out there. And also, as Vivian alluded to, put an invitation to take a next step with you. Hey, if this calls out to you, I'm going to be working with 3 people this month. Send me a PM if you want to know more. Click here to get in on this. So whatever. It's like, and we teach a lot about this in Magic Makers Coach Certification, because I really want more women like Vivian and like all the other women who've come through our program through the years to know that they have a message inside. You don't even have to know exactly how you're going to use this thing, as I think that's how some people get like tripped up. Like, what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm already doing this. Can I do this too? Or what is it going to look like? You can never know how it's all going to look. I can't know how my personal life's going to look in 20 years. I can't know how this stuff is going to look. It's just trusting yourself enough to know that if you desire something, if something calling out to you, you've got to trust that impulse, and you need to trust yourself enough to know that you will be able to take the next right step, and then the next right step, and then the next right step. So you did in fact join our most recent class. It was so awesome to have you in there. You really took the journey like to heart. You took it seriously. You showed up for the material. You showed up for the group. You showed up for yourself. You've since, come on to many of my programs are now in our speaking program called Magnetic. And we're actually going to be hanging out next weekend that retreat, which I'm so excited by. I'm really, really happy about. What would you say was like your greatest takeaway from Magic Makers Coach Certification? What was your great learning from that experience?
I think it's exactly what you were just alluding to, which is that we don't have to have it all figured out before we put it out there, and that what we have to say has impact. It's like, it's an opportunity for us to impact and make change. And if we don't put it out there, not only do we not get paid, which is really important, but the world doesn't get to hear what we have going on inside of us, like in terms of what we've learned, what we can do to help people. And that's actually, it's a big service that we're able to provide. And if we keep it all inside, it's kind of selfish, I think, you know? So I think that what I learned mostly from Magic Makers coach certification is, aside from all of the very important tactical things, which my business mind needs to know, like the logistics of how you do this, which I think the program does fabulously, because that's the execution. That's like the, you know, where the rubber meets the road and you have to start doing this, you know what to do. And so I very much appreciate that. But the soft side of the program, I think, is really in confidence in finding your voice. And I think sometimes we hold ourselves back because we think that we don't know what we can, that it's not all buttoned up and tied up with a bow. And I think that what I'm learning is that even like, you know, coaching mentors and leaders, even like Jenny, like oftentimes you kind of have to just go with it. And so that's the exciting part, is knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out, that here are the tools and the techniques to do it. But the rest of it has to just come from that eagerness, like that, you know, belief that you can do it. So
yes, so well said. Yeah, belief that you can do it, confidence in finding your voice, and confidence in using it. I have a voice, I'm going to put it out there, and what I have to say matters. And it doesn't, well, I'll tell you what doesn't matter. It does not matter how many people follow you on social. You look at these quote influencers, like they have 3 million people following them on Instagram. Like I have 300, or I'm not even on Instagram, I'm over here. That does not matter. The number of people who follow you does not dictate your worth in the world, and does not decide whether or not it's worth it for you to speak up about something that you want to talk about. And maybe it scares you a little bit to talk about, but you know that you're meant to share this thing. That is something that is your responsibility. I believe every single person I work with is a sacred messenger. Vivian's a sacred messenger. I'm a sacred messenger, and you are a sacred messenger. You know you have something inside of you, and your job is to get it out there. Get it out there. And what I love about the path of coaching and the craft of coaching, it gives you a framework to do it. You feel more confident because you know this is a thing. Like this is a thing. Like this is an actual craft. It's a skill, it's a talent, and it's a job. Like it really is a job, and you can weave it into what you're already doing now. It can make you a better leader in the business that you already own. It could be the sole thing that you do within the business that you're creating, or the next level of the thing that you're doing. It can make you more effective at home with your kids, with your partner, with your friends, and certainly with yourself. I have coached myself through many things. And, you know, one of the areas that I've just gotten clear on, we've just started sharing this, Vivian, because now we are enrolling for our next class, everyone. We're going to be kicking off in November. It's going to be awesome. And this next class will be the final time that we're going to be offering live coaching and community support with Magic Makers Coach certification. One of the ways that coaching has served me is when I know something is complete. And so my role in providing that really, really deep coaching, mentoring, and training within MMCC, that role is coming to an end. And it's bittersweet, but also very exciting, because I know it just opens up my next level of work. I'm very proud of Magic Makers Coach certification. It's some of my finest work. And as Vivian, you said, and I loved hearing that because you are such a business person, that what we provide within the core training around execution, the mechanics, and this is how you do it, this is how you set things up, this is how this works, this is how that works. That works so beautifully with the whole craft of coaching and knowing how to serve your clients deeply, or how to serve your team, how to serve the humans that are in your life, because it really is something available to everyone, but you have the opportunity to do it right and to take it seriously. What would you say to someone, Vivian, who's in that place of maybe a transition, like you were in, a question of what am I doing with my life? And this is, you know, calling out to them. They're curious, but they're a little bit scared to take that next step. If they're like, you know what, I think Magic Makers Coach certification, that could be for me. What advice would you give them?
I would say just do it. I mean, so there's so many opportunities that come up in life, and the fact that you're even looking into it and thinking about it means that that voice is there, right? Someone, there's that whisper, and you can kind of know already if it's for you. And a lot of times what holds us back are logistics, like, we might think about time or financials and things like that. And I can say 100% in my case, I did also. And all those things, like literally just like in the matter of like the span of even just thinking about it, talking to Jenny about it, like I found the money, I found the time, like it all just like everything resolved itself and it became what was meant to be. So I would just say you gotta, if you got that whisper in you already, you gotta listen to it, because it's not always going to be there.
And I love that. Like once you make that decision, the universe opens up. It's like, sure, here's the time. The funding is here. Here's how you can do it. And but it always, whatever the decision that it is that you're making in life, it comes down to you. You've got to make that call. You've got to decide, I'm doing this. I deserve this. I'm going to figure it out. And the universe will rise up to meet you, but you always have to do your part. And that's a core of coaching. And that's absolutely what we help our clients learn how to do for your clients, because there's a big situation in the world. There's an issue with the world, especially with women, where we hold ourselves back and we are always thinking about everyone else, or all the logistics, all the details, and we put ourselves last on the list. And then there becomes this crisis where we go, what am I doing with my life? It's that whole thing. And so we have to really decide that we're making that change. I also want to thank Vivian for this gorgeous necklace. This is a beautiful moon necklace that she gave me. And that's a core piece of our program. This is all about intuitive coaching. We have a whole module in our program about coaching and co-creating with the cosmos. So I'm obsessed with the moon. I have actually two moon I have another moon necklace too. I got bracelets. I got the whole thing. I have a shirt. And it's not just the externals. I really do have a strong relationship with the moon. She has such a motherly energy. And it's this lunar process that we teach and embody in our program. And we help you not only learn how to use it for yourself, but learn how to teach your clients how to use this, where it's all about doing less and making more, where you learn to work with the phases of the moon. You learn to work with new moon energy, which is all about rest, renewal, and ultravision. You learn to work with first quarter moon energy, which is when that moon is waxing. And that's when you are looking at growth, action, and commitment. We go back to like what those goals were that you set at new moon, what your intentions are. Then we move into full moon energy, which is you in your fullest power. It's like, boom, like you're just working it. You've got the thing owned. And once you realize like this, it's happening all the time, whether you're conscious of it or not. And once you become conscious of it and you practice it, your life changes and you can help your client's life change. And then the final phase of the moon, last quarter, waning moon, is when you let go to rise higher. And so we have a whole process that we teach you. It's the Magic Makers method. We have this really cool moon tracker that we give you, and you can use it with your clients. And it's what makes our program different than all the others that are out there. If you want to apply, magicmakerscoach.com. Would love to see your application come through. Reach out to Vivian with questions. You can reach out to me with questions. I know Vivian's got a lot of people in her community who might see this and go, oh my gosh, like I want to talk to her. That's the thing with this work too. We're humans. Like we like to talk to people, and I like to talk to people. So just because you see people on the internet doesn't mean that they're just like people on a screen. We're actually real humans who care about each other. And that's what the craft of coaching can be. I think some of that has gotten lost with just some of what has gone on out there. I've been in this space for more than 10 years. As you can see, I've been committed to helping people train to become coaches. Been doing this particular work for 7 years. And it really matters to me. And I want to just thank Vivian for being here today. Vivian, people, if they're in the Boston area and they want to come to your lash studios, which studios do you have out there?
Absolutely. I more than welcome all of the ladies to visit us. We're in Burlington and Waltham and Newton, Massachusetts to start.
And she's going places, and you're really working on your message and because we're working together in magnetic. You just want to give people a flavor for what you're working on there.
I mean, I think I'm still, again, like we say, trying to figure out not 100%, but at least a direction. And I think what I'm really focused on is helping women managers, entrepreneurs, leaders, just find their poise, I think. And when I say poise, it's not like in a, like a propriety type of way. I mean poise like in like a balance, where we feel like a balance, like a synchrony in what we're doing every day as leaders, as managers, and especially when those transitional emotional times come through, like just like knock you over like a Mack truck, like pandemic did. And you've got all these people who are looking to you to make the decisions, to be the leader, to be the positive source, to be their, the source of their paycheck. And you really got to just hold together. It's like and how do you do that in a way where you also maintain your poise? So that's kind of the direction I've been going in.
You're going to be that one with the coaching pieces that you mentioned were your lifeline when you were going through those changes. That's it.
Absolutely.
You and I did not coordinate our yellow shirts.
No, I know. I was like, we're wearing the same thing.
But of course we are, wardrobe on point. So I love it. I just love how the universe works. And I'm so grateful that, that post was able to speak to you in that moment and that we've gone on this awesome journey together. I always love especially when I have an opportunity to work with someone I've known for a long time in a certain capacity, and just to watch you move into your next chapter and to be honored that you have decided to work with me to help you get to wherever it is that you're going next. Thank you so much for your support, Vivian, and just for being an incredible friend, and congratulations for all your success.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I just want to just say one last thing, which is I have been so impressed by what Jenny has created in terms of just her entire enterprise. And I think that aside from kind of being a recipient of your coursework, I think just seeing you in action is inspiring for women like me to know that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. And in a way where you have your balance and you have your work-life balance, but you're also fueling yourself through your work, and you continuously are evolving that based on what's speaking to you. So it's inspiring to know that you can do that. And so I want to thank you for showing me.
Thank you so much. Well, I love doing these episodes for many reasons, but one, it's to just really, and that's a tip for y'all business owners out there. It's really awesome to have these kinds of conversations with clients, with customers, with team members, however you do, because you're able to receive things and you can see your work in ways that maybe you miss because you're in it, and you kind of see it from their eyes. So thank you so much for that, Vivian. And thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been an incredible conversation here on Coach Magic. I am dedicated to helping you create a life, business, and family that's beyond your wildest dreams. And certainly if coaching is calling out to you, and specifically intuitive coaching, we would love for you to check out magicmakerscoach.com. Be well, and we'll see you again soon for our next guest in our speaker series here on Coach Magic. Bye, everyone.
Bye.